What's up, everybody? You're listening to episode number 38 of Just Breathing with Laud Lungs. Got my wife Brittany here with me tonight, this evening, today. I don't even know what time it is. So let's talk about our night. Let's talk about our night last night. So those of you that listen to this podcast that live in the, honestly, I guess the East Coast.
Yeah.
I was going to say the PA area, but if you live on the East Coast, I'm sure you felt the effects of Hurricane Ida.
Yeah.
And I saw something this morning, and I don't know if this is referring to us, but I guess by the time it reached us, it wasn't a hurricane anymore. It was a tropical storm.
Yeah.
Was it even a tropical storm, though? I don't know if I would call it a tropical storm. It was a lot of rain.
It was just a lot of rain. There wasn't like high winds or anything.
No.
When it hit us, thankfully.
No. But I saw like it turned into a tropical storm, and I was like, that's intense.
Yeah.
That's intense. It was kind of intense, though, for us.
It was intense for us, yeah. Probably not a lot of other people. They were probably just like, it's a lot of rain.
Yeah. I feel like I'm crying wolf if I call it a tropical storm. Like, man, we really trudged through it last night.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that.
It was a lot of rain.
Yeah.
It was a lot of rain. There wasn't like thunder or the wind wasn't crazy or anything like that. But we definitely went through it.
Yeah.
We definitely went through it. It was interesting. So at the start of the day, I went down and looked at our basement, and the usual culprit is like a trail of water coming from like the back. Somewhere in the back it gets in, and there's just a little puddle that runs down towards where it drains out.
Yeah.
Humidifier's going. We got everything up on concrete blocks thanks to you, recommending that. And I'm like, all right, this is not going to be too bad, and it had already been raining for a little while. But then
it started to really
to really rain, and I started to not get too worried, but I'm like, oh, this could be bad.
Yeah.
This could be bad. And then later that day, so I'm working from home, so I can't be down there checking on it.
Thank goodness you were working from home, though.
True. Yeah, and I didn't have to drive in that weather.
Well, also, like, then we wouldn't have known, like, we need to get on this right away. You might have come home and been like, oh, well, maybe I'll just do a couple things.
Oh, true.
And then you went down and been like, oh my goodness.
True. So I go downstairs around 4. I'm not done work yet, but I'm like, let me see what's going on, because it's coming down.
Yeah.
It's coming down now. So I go down there, open the storm doors. That's the only way. That's the only access into our basement.
Yeah,
is through the storm doors. So I go down there, and I'm like, oh no, there's already. I don't want to overdo it, but it's over an inch of water.
Yeah,
like completely on the floor of our basement.
Yeah,
an inch of water. That's enough.
Enough.
I think it was more, but even an inch is a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So that's going to be a lot of work when I finish work.
Yeah.
So I get done work, start going down there, get my bathing suit on. It's still pouring.
Yeah.
And I tell the kids, get your bathing suits on. We're going to go have an adventure.
Yeah.
And so we go down there, and now there is more water down there. And now we're getting into the 2 inches or more. Now you're trudging through, and the water's up to my ankle, like past my ankle.
Yeah, that's way more than 2 inches.
So I'm trudging through barefoot in my basement, and oh my gosh. So first thing we do is we just survey the area. We're like, what things are going to blow up and what things are going to break if they get wet.
Yeah.
And we're running around grabbing the dehumidifier, putting it under our deck.
Yeah.
We're grabbing, all of the stuff, all of the electronic equipment, and getting it upstairs. So that happens. And then we try to actually start getting this water out.
Yeah.
Thing is, we don't know what we're doing. Thing is, I've never done this before.
Right.
So this has only happened one other time at our house where it's been that bad.
Yeah.
And that time, what did we do? I think I tried like scooping water out with a bucket that time and then gave up because that was ridiculous.
Well, the first time that this happened, I don't remember it very well because it was earlier on when we moved in and we didn't have a lot of stuff down there.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have a lot of important stuff except for the stuff that's always down there that's really important.
There was
like
a dehumidifier down there though. And
didn't that get ruined?
Yeah, that was ruined.
Yeah.
That was ruined because we didn't have it up on anything.
Yeah.
You know, we were a little more prepared this time, but not for that much water.
No.
But anyways, didn't really know what we were doing. Started with the shop vac. Started just sucking up some water with the shop vac, dumping it out outside, sucking it up, dumping it out outside. You don't realize how many gallons of water, a couple inches of water across your entire basement floor is.
Right.
That's gallons.
Yes.
And like I have I don't know what the shop vac is, maybe a 5 gallon, maybe a little more.
But it filled up in like less than a minute.
Yeah, less than a minute. And I knew we were getting into very dangerous territory when like we were doing this for a while, and then I looked at like the line of the water because you can kind of judge as it's moving up the cinder blocks.
Well, yeah, and as you see it getting closer to the things that you don't want it to touch, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yes. And like, and we're sucking. Nothing's happening. It's just still rising.
Well, what's funny is that I didn't go down there. I hadn't been down there all day.
Not right away, yeah.
And you guys were out there, and I was like, I honestly didn't think it was going to be that bad. Yeah. I was like, we have this stuff that's important up on cinder blocks. Like, how high could it really get?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be fine.
They're 8-inch cinder blocks.
Right. They're really tall.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm up there making dinner. I'm like, I'll prepare this so that when my starving children and husband come in, we'll have food that I can just quick put together. That will be good because we don't want to be hungry and tired.
Yeah.
So anyway, I finally get out there and I see you like soaking wet, right? With the shop vac. And all the kids are kind of just grumpy and wet. But and when I looked down there, I was surprised. I was like, whoa, like I did not know. And then when I actually walked down there, that was like, I was exaggerating it at first just because it felt like so much. I thought it was like a foot of water, but it wasn't quite a foot of water. But it was getting close.
It was a lot.
It was like, didn't get quite to 8 inches, I guess, because it didn't go over the cinder blocks, but it almost went over the cinder blocks.
It depends on where you were in the basement.
Okay, that's true.
Because over by where all the water's kind of flowing down to, it totally was over the cinder blocks.
Yeah, it probably was close to 12 inches.
Because like where we had the freezer, we had our freezer in the basement and standalone freezer, and we got that up on cinder blocks. Now usually in just like a regular rainstorm, even with a lot of rain, that area stays dry.
Yeah.
It usually just flows down towards the drain, and it's fine. That area, it was getting up on those cinder blocks, but like over. Usually by the drain is where I put the dehumidifier.
Right.
It was completely over those cinder blocks. They were completely submerged.
Good thing we didn't decide to put the freezer on that side where the drain is.
Well, I had thought of that when I put the freezer over there. I was like, this area usually is dry.
Yeah.
So let's keep it over here.
Yeah, that's good that you thought of that.
Yeah, but it was crazy. So we did that, realized that wasn't working, decided, okay, we got to change tactics. And that tactic was me going out to Lowe's and looking for a pump. Oh no! Wait. We should. You do this part. You do this part.
Okay, so before we went out to Lowe's, we're still trying to like do this whole like suck it up with the shop vac and dump it out. That was just kind of like hopeless. It felt hopeless. Yeah. But then we were like, okay, it's rising. It feels like we're not making a dent at all because. I guess we were, but it didn't look like it. It just kept getting more and more flooded. And so I was like, well, we need to save what we have down there at least. Like, what can we do to save it? So at this point, we stopped. We turned the shop back off. And I went down there with JC And we looked around and we decided to put the freezer up because it was almost at the freezer again.
Yeah.
And the freezer's on cinder blocks. And that wasn't enough. It didn't look like it. It was a little scary. So we were like, well, let's save that first. That's something at least we can save. So we decided.
I forgot about this part too.
We decided to get these blocks that were in our yard that you dug up like earlier in August.
Yeah, just like brick pavers.
Yeah. And to just put them under it too. So in the rain, in the slippery deck, we're like walking in our yard carrying these huge bricks over and around our deck and past our deck and then into the basement. And then we hike that up 2 notches. So it's on cinder blocks and these pavers or whatever, two sets of pavers.
Yeah.
And that made me feel better. And then, yeah.
And the whole reason, like, one, because we wanted to care for the freezer.
Right.
We didn't want it to break because that would stink.
Yeah.
But also, we had just got a
The day
shipment
before.
of meat. Like, we had split a cow
Yeah.
with my parents so that we would have meat for a long time.
In the hopes of saving money.
In the hopes of saving money. And then literally the day after is when the storm hits.
Yeah. The day of it starts raining, but not hard.
Right.
Not hard.
Right. We were okay. But yeah. Yeah. The day after we're like, I hope we don't lose all of this meat that we just bought. That's supposed to like last us for
a year.
A year. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna for those watching on YouTube, I'll put a picture around here somewhere of our stacked freezer.
Yeah,
because it's kind of comical because it's so high off the ground.
Really, but you know what? It needed to be that high off the ground.
It did need to be that high, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
I was nervous too when it was.
It looks like one of those homes at the beach.
Yeah,
like on stilts and
Yeah.
stuff. That's basically what we had.
Yeah.
That's basically what we had. But no, tell them about the siphon.
Oh my goodness.
Because this was the craziest part to me.
Okay,
like
so
the stacking, I'm like, cool, you know.
Okay, so
but like the siphon was crazy.
This was just kind of comical if you can envision this. But so my basement when I was a kid, my parents' house used to flood a lot. And my dad did this thing with a hose to siphon the water out. Okay. So I thought that I could replicate this.
Yeah.
And so we found this hose, this really old hose that had been wrapped up for ages and ages and ages. So I'm down in this muddy basement, wet basement up to like my calves here with water. And I'm wrestling with this hose to try to get unraveled to try this siphoning thing. And that was just funny in itself.
Because like you had recalled that like you had to get water throughout the hose. Like the whole hose had to be equally submerged and filled with water.
Right.
For the siphoning to work.
Yes. And I didn't want to fill it up with the hose and bring more water down in our basement in case it didn't work.
Right.
So anyway, so now I'm trying to shove this I'm trying to unwound the hose.
Yeah.
And that's not working well. It looks like I'm fighting a snake in our basement. And then I'm trying to shove it under the water.
I described it. I was telling some of my coworkers because they were like texting throughout the night because they were fine. They had no problems at their house.
They just wanted entertainment.
They're like texting back and forth, you know, with me on the text chain, like about like a YouTube video, like a funny YouTube video or something. And I'm like, oh, do I have the stories?
You could have made your own funny YouTube video.
I know, but like. So I was like describing my experience and I just sent them a picture of like, you remember the scene in New Hope in Star Wars where they're in like the trash compactor and they're all like wrestling with that sewage snake thing, you know, that wraps up Luke.
Yeah.
That was you in the water in our basement.
Yes.
Wrestling with the hose, trying to make a siphon.
Yeah.
It's like such a ridiculous thing. Like I wish I had like a GoPro just so I could wear it just to see the craziness that we went through. Because we're two people that have no idea what we're doing. Absolutely no clue.
And what was worse is that we finally thought we got it filled up with water. and I'm like plugging the holes, right? Because I thought that was important.
Yeah, create pressure or something.
Create like pressure, and then we go out and like I put it out, outside of the basement, and you're inside, and we're like letting it go at the right times from my memory, and then nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Absolutely.
The water just probably
nothing.
poured right back into the basement. And then to make it worse, we tried it like 2 more times.
Well, then we tried it outside with the hose. And then we're filling up
water
in
the hose.
Yeah. Taking it out, holding it together, trying to let go again at the same time. Now, my friend had a brilliant point. But when you're in the thick of it, you don't think brilliant thoughts.
No, you're just like kind of panicking a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. You're in full panic. And I was talking to my friend today, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's you." He just said it like in passing. He was like, "Yeah, you have to like for a siphon, you have to keep them at the same level," which we know at the beginning,
right?
But the thing is, once one was in the basement and one went up the storm doors, and so you're at a higher elevation, and so probably the siphon might have worked. And I'm saying might. I don't know this scientifically, but like if we ran the hose down the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Now you would have to run it almost down to the road.
Right.
To make it at the same level
as that
one.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it would have worked.
I don't know. Also, I don't care though, because that is not the best idea.
It wouldn't have been very effective or
storm.
Efficient.
No, a siphon. A siphon's great if like you're draining like a pool and you got all day.
Right.
But when like things are rising and it's going over, we have like our hot water heater. I think our water pressure thing. I don't know all the technical names. And we have all of those on like a ledge. So it's built up. So at first, no problem. Then the water filled up in the basement enough that it's going over this ledge. Yeah. It's going under the hot water heater.
It was like an inch or two underneath the hot water heater.
Yeah, over that ledge.
Yeah, like it was almost about to touch the hot water heater.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to get a ruler down there and see how much.
We should have. But you're right now that I think of it, it would have been different at different spots in the basement.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for sure over by where the dehumidifier was, it was deep. It was really super deep. So yeah, these are the things that we're most worried about. So because of that, I'm like, well, we have to do something.
Yeah.
There's no way we can just kind of hope.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we did pray. I pray with my kids. I'm like, Lord, I know you are the maker of storms and rain, and please stop your creation,
But I have to just interrupt and say that there was a lot of God interventions.
Oh, for sure.
I just have to say real quick, because it would have been really bad if a couple things didn't happen. First,
I'll get there.
Okay, go ahead.
So, just to continue this story. So, we have no idea what to do to get this water out because the shop vac's not working. We don't know how to make a siphon to save our lives.
We failed multiple times.
So, last option that I could think of was to go to Lowe's or go to Home Depot, go one of these stores and get a pump, get a transfer pump. Because in our basement, there's no hole for like a sub pump.
Yeah.
So like that's not an option in our house. So I go to Lowe's first, and I get to the section, and like somehow I knew where to go, which is kind of crazy because I have no idea what I'm doing. So I go to the right section. There's already a person standing there looking at some pumps, and I'm like, geez, I'm gonna have to like, what do I do? Do I say like, can I have that please? Like, how bad do you need it? Like
Christmas vacation.
I'm
over
already
pumps.
thinking through like all of the things I could say to kind of weave my way into this guy's heart to like allow him to have me take that pump. Ends up not being what I need. Ends up being too small.
Okay.
And then there was another pump there that I probably could have used, but it was damaged.
Oh no.
Yeah. All of the other pumps sold out. Completely sold out. So I just leave. I don't even like ask any of the associates. I just leave. I get in my truck, and I'm headed to Home Depot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check there. So get to Home Depot, get out of my truck. Who am I to find? All of the people that I was in the aisle with at Lowe's were all now at Home Depot looking for pumps. And so we all get in there. We're all having like a good laugh about it too, because we're just like, hey, and whenever one of us like finds out information, we're like sharing it with the others. We're like pals now. Yeah. This is like crisis.
Pals.
This is like crisis. What do you call it? Like where you bond in like a traumatic experience or something. Like we had that. It was funny. It was so funny. And so Home Depot completely sold out.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Except not really. So I drove home. The roads were okay. The roads near our house, when I was going to Lowe's, had already flooded our main road.
Like you were lucky to get through that one
I was
spot.
very lucky. I was in my truck, thankfully, 4-wheel drive and stuff. So but it was scary. Yeah. I like got halfway in, and just rule to people that don't know, you do not stop. If you start to go through water, do not stop because you will stall.
You just got to keep
going. Like, so I got like halfway in and I just hit the gas because my lights and like all of the dash components and everything like that started like flickering, like they were going out, and like the water is literally like up to my window, like just splashing around me. And I'm like, we're doing it. And I made it through.
Thank God.
I made it through. But yeah,
I was praying for you when you were driving because I was like,
that was scary. But you know what though? It was so, oh my gosh. Experiences like that, I need to find like another output to like have experiences like that.
Because of the adrenaline?
Because of the adrenaline.
Okay, so.
Oh my gosh. Like I literally got out of that. I'm making a lot of Star Wars references tonight. Sorry. But like, I was like Lando Calrissian, like coming out of the Death Star, in Return of the Jedi, when he's like, when the fire's like enveloping him and he like, the Millennium Falcon bolts out and he's like, woo! Like, that was me. That was me coming out of that water. I was like, yeah. I was so crazy at that time.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
They say that adrenaline rushes are addictive. And also, it used to be a really big joke in my family that
start cocaine.
That adrenaline can be used up. So we used to make jokes that you if you use it up, you'll like get to a point where you need it and you just can't do it. You'll just be like normal.
I think that's like one of those things parents say so that you don't do drugs.
I think that wasn't. No.
I'm very sure it is.
No, it's. We gotta look it up.
I don't think you can like.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
You can use up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that your adrenal glands?
I think so.
You can exhaust your adrenal glands.
I think it would be very difficult to do. But
I feel like you would have to be doing some intense stuff
all the time.
You basically just live jumping out of a plane.
I don't know. This is something I heard. We have to look it up to confirm it's true.
I don't know about that.
I think it's really funny. I kind of hope it's true.
Why? I want adrenaline never to stop. I want to keep just on it.
Because it's just funny.
I got to find a way. I got to find something to let it out. Because that was so awesome. That was so awesome. It was such an unproductive night because I found nothing that I needed.
Right.
But that experience was great looking back on it. So I get home and we're just kind of at that point where we hadn't eaten dinner yet. It's like 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock, something like that. I'm just like, oh, let's eat dinner.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. You just kind of leave yourself up to nature, give yourself up to nature. And you're just like, you could have my house.
Yeah. Not really.
I have home insurance. What? These are the things, you're just preparing your mind for all of these, eventualities and inevitabilities and all that type of stuff.
That's funny because I was not. I was holding out hope. I'm like, we got to find a way.
But what? That was the craziest part is I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And then my dad was like, have you texted your neighbor yet?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm such a man. So that idea didn't even cross my mind.
Right. So like ask
because
for,
like you're just the way a mind of a man works is like he's got his problems, so I'm not going to bother him with my problems. You know, like it's just that's the way a man's mind works.
Right.
Like it was not. There was not even like a pride thing. Like, I don't want to ask him because I want to figure this out. It was just like, I don't want to bother him because he probably has some flooding or some rain stuff that he's dealing with. But I was like, fine, you know, texted him. Thank God, literally, thank God. My neighbor had two pumps. He had two different pumps. He had a sub pump that was awesome because that it couldn't get all the water out, but it gets it down to like the bottom of that sub pump. So you have about like an inch left on the floor. So it really brought the water down off that ledge, away from the hot water heater and everything. So that was just such a we don't have to worry about the freezer now. You know, it was so awesome. So awesome. So I got the water down like pretty quickly where it was safe.
Yeah.
And then I just stayed up. I stayed up late last night and just used the transfer pump, which is like a submersible one that really gets that water down, the extra stuff down. So I just basically, it was a waiting game.
Yeah.
Waiting game / like move it a little closer to where like the dehumidifier was and just kind of keep moving the water over there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was very thankful that you did that, and it looks wonderful now down there.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I'm sure like a lot of stuff's damaged. Just structural stuff. I'm sure like, because I have a couple workbenches that are wood.
Yeah.
I'm sure the legs aren't doing too great.
Yeah. Luckily though, it was only like not a full day of being drenched.
It wasn't soaking.
It's
for
not
a
like
long,
it's been
long
in
time.
it's not like it's been underwater for like 2 days straight or something.
True.
Which makes a big difference.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. So yeah, that's our story.
Yeah.
That's our story.
But the praises are a couple.
Yeah.
That I went to my pup-ups the day before this happened, and he was the one who mentioned.
Oh.
He was the one who was like, oh, because he knew of the rain coming. We all knew it was coming.
Right.
He was like, oh, does your basement flood sometimes? And I'm like.
I wasn't locked in though. Like that's the beauty of having like grandparents is that they're locked into the news and the Weather Channel.
Yes.
And like I follow it, like, you know, you have your app on your iPhone or whatever with the weather on there. That's about the extent of my weather watching.
Well, same here. I actually never really look at the weather. I knew that this was coming because of the devastation that happened lower south.
Right.
And so I was like, I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. But anyway, so he was like, does your basement flood sometimes? And it just kind of made me think. I was like, wait. It has in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of our new meat that hadn't even come yet. It was coming in the works.
We haven't even touched yet.
We haven't even seen it yet. I was like, it's coming tonight, my meat. I was like, I need to get this, make sure this is up. So that's when I texted you and made sure that we got cinder blocks. So we got it, you know, lifted up. So that was the first, because we were going to get it earlier, the meat earlier. Mm-hmm. And if we would have gotten it earlier, I wouldn't have remembered. And I don't know if we would have put it up because it would have been filled and been really heavy.
Wow.
You know, so that was a first praise because then our meat was saved.
Yeah.
and then just the praise that like your dad thought to text you about Gary and that he had something that we could use. So, I mean, that was awesome. And so, hallelujah. Praise God.
Praise God for Gary. Gary. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a crazy experience. And that's the joy of being a homeowner.
Yeah.
That's like, that is the thing. I talk to all my friends that are like recent home buyers and things like that. And they're like, man, it was nice at your parents' house.
Yeah,
like, you know, like, man, it was nice at the apartment where like, you're just like, landlord.
Yeah.
Could you fix this? Could you do this? And yeah, when you're responsible, houses are the best.
Yes.
They are the best. It's yours. You're getting, you know, equity. You're getting property. It's awesome. But you have to take care of it. And I feel like it's every year we learn like a new thing.
Yeah.
You know, every year we're like a little more prepared to be like responsible homeowners, but we're not there yet.
No.
It's every year it's a new thing. And some things you just let sit for a while too. That's the hard part, is to not let things sit.
Right.
You really need to like jump on stuff because of things like this.
Right.
You know, I probably should have from the last one been like, I should look into what a water pump is.
Right.
I have no clue what any of them are. A transfer pump, a sub pump, like all these different things, a jet pump. There's so many different ones. But they all have different functions.
It makes sense that you didn't, though, because we really weren't that concerned the last time. Like, we lost that one thing.
Right.
And that was a shame. But like, there was nothing else down there.
Right. And it didn't rise as much as it did.
And it didn't get as high. And so we were just kind of like, well,
we'll be okay.
We'll be okay. And we don't have anything down there. But now we have stuff down there.
Yeah.
And now we know how high it can get. So.
Yeah.
So, and luckily nothing happened. And so now we can be prepared, hopefully.
Now we plan for future.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure. But I mean, nothing compares to what people are going through down in Louisiana.
Well, that's what it made me
this
think
was our experience. And then we can always be like, but we're not going through that.
Well, I was just thinking yesterday, like after all this kind of cleared up and we knew it was going to be okay, I was thinking of those people, some who've lost everything.
Everything.
I was like, I just can't imagine how awful that was.
Well, they didn't have power. We never lost power, that was another blessing.
Yes.
Because there was one time while we were
scared.
It was literally as we were setting up the sub pump to start getting that water down, all the power just
Yeah.
And then came back on and we're like
all of us were like, is that going to happen again?
Because what do you do? Like that's literally when you just give up.
Yeah.
You're like, well, power's out. I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing I can actually do.
Right.
Unless I sit down there with a bucket, you know.
Yeah. And flashlights.
Yeah. But the people in Louisiana and Georgia and Alabama, they all got rocked by this. And
then there was tornadoes too not around our area, but closer to us.
No, there was a tornado in Berks County
that destroyed houses.
Yeah. The Berks County one didn't destroy it, like damaged and stuff, but yeah, there was a tornado in like Mullica Hill area.
Oh, okay.
There was a Bucks County sighting.
Maybe that's the one
Bucks County?
Maybe.
I know the Mullica Hill one did some damage.
Okay, maybe that's the one I heard of.
Yeah.
I didn't hear
it was crazy because we're not used to that.
No.
It's not damage like Midwest tornadoes or anything like that, but it was significant.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the tornadoes just kind of rip siding off, knock some chimneys down. It was
which is still pretty bad.
It's crazy. It's still incredibly terrifying and scary, but that's the same thing. It's terrifyingly scary. Okay. But we're just not used to that.
No.
I've never seen a tornado in PA. We've had tornado watches in the past, but I've never seen one.
Right. There was a tornado that went through when I was really little. I was actually not living here at the time, but my grandparents were and some other of my family that came through and did do damage, but I wasn't here at that point.
Yeah. I think a similar thing happened when I was a kid in New Jersey. There was I think there was a sighting, Gloucester County.
Okay.
I think. But yeah, that's not a common thing.
No.
Not in this area. So it was crazy. It was a crazy experience just in general. From the flooding to the road situations, a lot of closures on roads, tornadoes. It's nuts.
Yeah, I think we did pretty good in that, though. Luckily we didn't have all the destruction happen, but I felt like we kept pretty calm. We were thinking through things, and we weren't I don't know. I was kind of proud of us in that way.
Yeah. Well, I kind of made a conscious decision early on in the night that I'm not going to freak out.
Right.
I wasn't going to, because a lot of times it's so easy when stuff like that is happening to kind of put all when you're helpless,
Yeah.
to put all of that feeling on the people that are closest to you.
Yes.
Like, because where else are you going to go with it?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to go punch something? Like,
Right.
what are you going to do? Usually it's like through your passive aggressive attitude or just negativity that you're spewing out at your wife, at your kids, to just kind of deal with that.
Right.
And like at the beginning, when I saw the water, I like immediately made a conscious decision. Like, I told the kids, let's get your bathing suits on.
Yeah.
We're just going to go play in the water.
Right.
And they did. They loved it. Yeah. They were down there in the basement splashing in the water. I'm not sure how sanitary that is.
Oh, by the way, Elijah told me today that he drank some of the water. And because Addie was saying today, this is just a funny little side thing.
Oh my gosh.
Today, I found out Addie was saying, you're going to get sick, Elijah. You're going to get sick. And I'm like, why is he going to get sick? And she's like, because he drank some of the basement water.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, did you really, Elijah? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I think I'm sick. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, you could get sick by doing that. Anyway. Just a funny side note.
Oh my gosh.
Our children were drinking basement water.
Well, at one point I had him and our daughter, our crazy daughter, go out because like Addie she brought buckets down because they were supposed to fill the buckets and dump them out, but it was never used for that. It was to like move water around, and like water was splashing up over that ledge that wasn't wet yet. And like at the last straw for me was like she picked up the bucket and she was about to like
pour it on her head.
She was about to dump it on herself, and I was like, get out. If you want to be wet, go stand in the rain,
Yeah.
But that was like, nope, we're not dumping muddy water on yourself. They thought it was a pool.
Yeah,
they thought it was great.
No worries.
They're like, this is a great kiddie pool in our basement.
I should have known because they drink water everywhere. I'm always telling them, no, you can't drink that water. Yeah.
That is so true, though. Kids have no worries.
No worries.
Like, they did not care at all that we were covered in rain
water.
And mud, and we were gross by the end. Our bathing suits were all covered in mud. And like, we came in, they're like, is it dinner time yet?
Yeah.
They're like, are you going to get food for us?
Yeah.
Because we're hungry.
Yeah.
It's just like, cool. Right. Oh, yeah, I got to do that parent thing too. Yeah. Oh, forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Totally forgot that I got to do that too. Man, crazy.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Crazy, but yeah, it definitely put in perspective, what people are dealing with down south. And just like, man, to deal with that with no power, to deal with that with like the extent of the flooding. Like someone said to me that they were having like 20-foot swells.
What?
Like coming inland and stuff.
Yikes.
Like, I mean, that's just like, that's automatic. Oh, now your car is submerged.
Oh my goodness.
Like, think about that.
No.
I don't know how many miles it would go inland and stuff and then come out.
Was this one, did they like evacuate people?
They did. There was all this talk of like, was it soon enough? They were saying that they had built up the levees. You remember like in Katrina?
Yeah.
Like how the levees broke. They were saying the levees were built up better and they were more ready this time. And I think they were.
I think I heard that it's still bad, but it wasn't as bad.
No. And this storm was, I think it was a stronger storm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When it hit. Yeah. I don't know if it died down. Sometimes they die down as soon as they hit shore.
Right.
But yeah, it's still scary. And I definitely, our experience definitely brought perspective in terms of what they're going through. And just my heart is definitely breaking for the people that have lost their homes, have lost their cars, have lost, hopefully not family.
Hopefully not.
But yeah, it definitely pays to be prepared.
Yeah.
Definitely pays to be prepared.
That'd be hard.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else that you can think of our experience or?
No, I just my thoughts on the whole like having your home destroyed, especially if you live in an area like that. I mean, I feel like it's just so awful. It's like how prepared do you want to be? You want to be prepared, but I feel like you wouldn't.
Oh, if you live in
that area, yeah, I feel like you wouldn't. I feel like you would actually live differently to be better prepared. Like I'm just thinking of myself. Like I probably wouldn't buy. Like I guess you would have to buy things like just weekly. Like you wouldn't want to stock up on tons of stuff. Like what if a storm comes and then everything's gone?
Yeah.
Like why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Like it would change the whole way you live.
Yeah.
And like you wouldn't even like how much would you want to invest in your house? You know what I mean? Like how much would you want to like put into your house when you know like this house could be destroyed? You know? I just can't. I've never lived somewhere like that. So it's hard for me to be like, that's a totally different way of living, you know? And especially because like some of those areas still get cold sometimes. So it's not just like you're like living on an island where it's always warm or something.
Right.
And you can live very differently. Like you still have to have all the stuff you need to stay warm. So I just can't.
Well, it's like people that live on islands that have volcanoes.
Oh,
like that's such a crazy thing because like, it's erupting again, you know, and maybe not even a crazy eruption, but like, I think in like Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's the big island or if I forget which island has the volcano, but like it's constantly spewing out lava.
Yeah.
And it's flowing down and you know, it creeps on your house and like you got to evacuate just to be safe. And then you come back but then after that, the vegetation, I guess, is like beautiful.
Right.
That grows back after, you know, after all of that. It really leaves the ground fertile and able to have this beautiful comeback.
Yeah, which is amazing. Yeah.
Which is so cool. But like, do you want, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, that would be.
I don't know if I can make the choice. Maybe if I like got to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii.
Right.
Maybe if I got to Hawaii, I'm like, yeah, of course I'd live next to a volcano. That sounds great. I get to live here.
Yeah.
You're saying I get to live here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be my response. You're saying it's warm all the time?
Right. Right.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Blue water. Okay.
This is pretty. I can just live outside. That can be my home.
Yeah. You find me on the beach. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. Definitely something to consider. And everybody, but you adapt to it.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely that whole mentality that changes when people live in an area for a long time. Like people that live in Florida and stuff always go back.
Yeah.
They're not like, they don't evacuate because of a hurricane. They're like,
not going. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm never going back to that again. How crazy was that?
Yeah.
They're like, nah.
Yeah.
I just had to leave for a time.
Right.
Get a hotel.
Yeah.
I'll be back. You know, so you just adapt to it. You get used to that. And I think that type of stuff just becomes normal.
Right.
Even if it's crazy to think that way, it becomes normal.
Yeah.
So
we're very adaptable.
We are.
Human beings.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I hope everybody enjoyed that story. Hope everyone was safe that did experience hurricane or tropical storm Ida. Hope your houses are okay. Hope your children are okay. All of that good stuff. But yeah, let's wrap it up here. Everybody that's watching this on YouTube, make sure you like this. Because why not? What else are you going to do with your life but like this video? Subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, make sure that you follow us, subscribe, hit the notification bell on there. We will see you on the next episode. We love you all. Goodbye.